Welcome to Cut to the Chase, where we talk about compelling legal, regulatory, and public interest information and news. Your host is Gregg Goldfarb, an attorney, entrepreneur, investor, and activist.
All right, folks, it's time for our favorite podcast, Cut to the Chase. And you might remember the gentleman that I am about to interview again, Adam Rossen, who did a fabulous podcast with me about all the problems that you could have if you're an illegal immigrant, you get arrested, even on a bogus BS charge. Adam, how are you doing?
Great. I'm doing great, Gregg. Thanks for having me back. Excited. Two times this year.
2 times. It's really nice. I love it when guests want to come back, quickly. That sounds almost like a compliment, but
it is.
You did good. We got some good views, but we're good. Again, we're cut to the chase. So let's cut to the chase. And I'm going to tell you this. Both of us are lawyers. When I got to law school, the first thing I remember hearing from one of the teachers or faculty was, "We're not going to teach you how to become a lawyer." And I was like, "Excuse me, could you repeat yourself? I'm just about to pay you $150,000.
Yeah. And now it's 300,000 to 500,000, right?
300,000 to 500,000. So the Socratic method, blah, blah, blah. You graduate law school, you take your bar, you're a lawyer, you don't even know how to practice law. But there are ways while you're going to law school, you law students, where you can hone your lawyer skills. And Adam Rossen has an amazing criminal defense internship program that he's going to tell you all about right now. So I'm going to zip it if that's possible. Adam, go ahead. Floor is yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Gregg. So first, I want to talk about the history of the program. So I don't know, what it was like for you, but when I was 26 is when I started the firm, and I was a prosecutor for 2 years, started the criminal defense firm in 2008. And very quickly it was, I have a friend who has a neighbor whose cousin wants to go to law school. Can they shadow you? Can they learn and see what it's like? And we would always say, "Oh yes, come on by, come." And it was the first version of the program, which for most people, that's what they're living in, which is the come hang out phase. Just come hang out, spend a few days, do that. And we had that for a very long time, maybe my first 8 years or so in practice. And then it evolved to the second version, which was, we could have 2 or 3 people come hang out for the summer, maybe a week, a few weeks in the summer, maybe a week or 2 between summer and fall break, or, so on and so forth, right? And then during COVID, everything changed. And so I'm very lucky to have had a lot of mentors in my life. And one of my mentors used to always say, he's like, "Adam, if you believe that you're a great lawyer and you're here to help people, then it's your ethical and moral responsibility to grow the firm so then therefore you can help more people." And during COVID, everybody lost their summer plans, right? People had big summer plans and everything, the whole world shut down. So people were looking for judicial internships and law internships and prosecutor's office, public defender's office, big law, summer associate jobs, whatever, you name it, people lost it. And I said to myself, it's bad times. The measure of somebody's character is how they help and what they do during bad times. So we're going to take everybody on who needs an internship that I know, or that reaches out to us. Lo and behold, we had 13 interns that summer. We were on Zoom. We did have Zoom court. And so at the time we had 2 lawyers in the firm, me and Manny, but there were no trials going on. So we had things for them to see, but we also had time to give them a curated experience. And so we did it all over Zoom, and it was a lot of fun. We came up with, they watched Zoom court, Zoom depositions. We had a few Zoom motions to suppress, it was an awful experience, getting testimony and trying to play back body camera videos and doing those motions over Zoom. So after the first 2, we said, nope. We said, never again. We're not doing it. We'll wait till the courts reopen. But we had a lot of time to be creative and debrief with our interns. And in Memorial Day weekend of 2020 is when the George Floyd murder happened. And what I just was thinking about it, and I said, you know what? We're going to give our interns a law school final exam based on the George Floyd murder. And so I said, next Wednesday, block off 4 hours, and we're going from 1:30 to 5:30. And I'm not telling you what we're doing. I just said, be ready. So they all hop on, and I go, boom, here we go. Here's our fact pattern. We've been hired to represent Derek Chauvin. We're going to take the unpopular opinion of how we're going to win this case. Here's the law that he's been arrested on. Here's the medical examiner's report with the autopsy. You got 4 hours. This is your law school final exam. Figure it out. Oh, and by the way, I'm grading you 1 through 13 against each other. just like in law school. I'm grading you on a curve. And they loved it. We loved it. And it was funny because the first one, the one who finished number one was a law student, but number 2 and 3 were high schoolers, which was really cool. So interesting to me.
Wow.
And we took anywhere from law school to undergrad to high school. And after that summer, I really thought it through and I said, I think we have something special here. And so what we did is that morphed into version 4.0 of the internship. And so I took that COVID, that 2020, and actually 2020 and 2021 experience, because we did it like that way both years. And in 21, we did a Bill Cosby project during his trial, and we changed it for 22 and 23. And I said, it needs to be better. And I'm pretty good when I have time to think and be creative. So what we did is, and I had help with this, I had a lot of help with this with members from my team. We said, we're going to make this a competitive program. We're going to make this an official summer program that people need to apply to. We're going to start a curriculum component. We're going to get speakers from all across the country, and we're going to start even book clubbing. And so that was 22, 23, and 24. So for the last 3 years, it's been version 4.0 that I call it. And we've had people from the Innocence Project. We've had local, state, and federal judges. We've had judges from, actually, we had even had a judge who's a friend of mine from New York. We've taken field trips to the federal courthouse. They see what we do. And it's a full-on now immersive experience where our interns get matched with our attorneys, and they're in the day-to-day grind. They have their caseload. They're looking through discovery, body camera videos, prepping for motions to suppress, prepping for trial, watching court, depositions, meeting with new potential clients. And I always tell them, I say, look, you might be involved in mock trial or moot court. Well, guess what? Those are academic exercises. They're great exercises. But what you don't have is a real life human being that has real life consequences. What you don't have is sitting across the table from somebody who maybe made a poor choice, but is a good person, and seeing a grown man cry because they're worried about their future and their family's future. And then having to have me meet with them and then ask them to pay us money after all these bad things are going on, right? Personal injury, it's easy. You got injured? Guess what? Sign on the iPad and I'm going to get you a boatload of money and I'm going to fix you. Get you fixed, right? That's of course a gross oversimplification, but the sales process is so much easier in personal injury.
Yeah.
And it's so much harder in criminal defense. So they're going to get to see that. They're going to see our law firm's culture. They're going to be a part of team meetings. And again, and we have speakers, we have book club. And so now I run the academic component, I run the book club, I run the speaker series. They're going to hear speeches and presentations from all of our lawyers. My wife is a prosecutor in Palm Beach. They spend an entire day with her, a field trip, and we do all this different stuff, and they get to be fully immersed in it. And that's what it's been the last 3 years. And we've also developed an alumni network based on it, which is really cool to connect people from different or same colleges and universities and connect them and have this, summer group where we've even had previous interns come back when they're in town over the summer. I always reach out and say, come back and speak to the new crop. And that's version 4.0. And I'm so excited to now discuss how we've morphed it even more into version 5.0. And so what 5.0 is, it was over Thanksgiving and I was just thinking about it. And I said, how can we niche down even more, right? And Gregg, that when you can be a general personal injury attorney and do very well. But if you then create a litigation firm and niche down into just pure litigation, you're probably going to do it even a little better versus niching down further, maybe into medical malpractice, right? And so with the internship program, I said, it's not just going to be criminal law. We're niching down even more and making this criminal defense focused. So it's not good enough that you have an interest in criminal law or maybe you want to be a prosecutor anymore. Now it's all about helping others purely through criminal defense, criminal justice, of helping people in our community. And by doing that, what we're doing now is we're able to partner with local, statewide, and nationwide organizations, criminal justice orgs across the country. And we've had the Innocence Project speak to us every summer for the last, I think, 4 or 5 summers. But now we're going deeper with other orgs. And what it's going to be able to do is when our people, when our interns, maybe the next summer, and they're looking for something else, they're going to know, well, we heard from 5 different criminal justice orgs last summer. Maybe I can go intern with them, or I remember a connection that Adam helped me make through them. When they need people at the Florida local level, or even on the nationwide level, to help them maybe co-sponsor some new legislation. For example, yesterday, I was in Tallahassee all day I met with 9 state reps and senators about different legislative ideas for criminal justice reform, going to see, work in the committees and on the House and Senate floor. And being able to have that platform, which helps me for my personal brand, which helps the firm for the firm's brand. We want to be known as the strongest, biggest criminal defense firm that is partnering across the country with criminal justice organizations, because there's only a few criminal defense firms that are bigger, but they're more of the high volume, low fee kind of churn them and burn them. And that's not us. We have a platform. We want to be powerful. We want to bring suits to criminal defense instead of Better Call Saul, which is 99% of the criminal defense bar. And we want to be able to help our communities. And by doing this and partnering with big, strong criminal justice orgs and our firm, the sky is the limit. So we want to be able to even take on some pro bono cases through that and just see how we can open up and partner with them. And so that's a big focus through us. It's going to help obviously with our marketing, our digital marketing, our branding, just from a mission-based perspective, connections. And again, how can we, help our community and our country be a better place? And then through a lot of discussions with me and some key members of my internal team, we kept going back to really 2 things. One is, well, this is great for students, but what if you're not a student? Right? Because we open it up really to select high schoolers and college and law students, and we take 12. We're taking 12 every summer, so which is a lot, but we have the capacity to do that. And so the conversation surrounded around, well, what if it's a non-student or non-traditional path towards criminal law, criminal defense? And 2, our summer internship is unpaid. Now, by no means is this come and let us exploit you for free labor. We have, like I said, academic component, a curriculum component to it, and it truly is immersive. But what if you can't afford to have a 12-week unpaid summer internship program? So the next thing that we're doing, Gregg, I'm very excited for as well. We're probably going to launch it in next year in the spring. And we want to do semester version, so basically spring and fall, and not have it be a part of the summer program, but do a paid mentorship program where we hire people from non-traditional academic backgrounds. Maybe it's somebody who got out of jail or prison, who wants to get a job at the clerk of the court, maybe wants to get a job at the public defender's office, wants to get into criminal justice, criminal defense. Obviously, the prosecutor's office won't hire that person. Or maybe they don't have to be involved from a defendant standpoint, but they're not a non-traditional student and they really want to get involved and help. Well, we're crafting a way now where we can have maybe a 3 to 4 month paid mentorship program that, if all goes perfectly well, it could lead to future full-time employment with the firm. And at worst case, well, here they are, and it's a great learning experience and resume boost for somebody who most other businesses or law firms wouldn't be willing to or have the capacity to take the chance on somebody. And so that's only happened through a lot of internal discussions through the firm. And it's something that when as we're partnering with more and more criminal justice orgs, they are the ones that have the knowledge of people who would be the perfect fit for this mentorship program? So I know that was probably a 10-minute answer, but I wanted to give you and all your listeners the background and how it's evolved and why I'm so excited about this and why I was like, I need to come back on Gregg's podcast and we got to talk about this stuff.
It's very exciting. And I think it's, as an attorney, I think that we all want the next generation lawyers to be good, to be able to represent their clients and, to basically make the legal practice look good. It should look good. But I want to break down a lot of what you just said so that the audience here is, they know exactly what it is. Right now, the summer internship program is 12 weeks and it's unpaid.
That's right.
When is the application process opening?
Right. So
let me ask 5 questions and then you can answer them. All right. So
sure.
When is the application process opening and closing? Are these the people that you select? Is this like, what's their obligation? Are they 9 to 5? Do they go into your office? Where's your office? Are they going to get in court? I know that they can't talk to the judge or whatever, but are you going to bring them to court? I know you talked about your wife who's a prosecutor. That's the other side. You're going to give them a little exposure to that. By the way, what is your wife's name? I don't want to run through this whole podcast and then she sees it and we didn't even give her a shout out or whatever. Let's start there. What's your
right?
wife?
All right. So let's give a great shout out to my wife. She goes by her maiden name for work, Kylie Brown. She's a prosecutor in Palm Beach. She's been there almost 9 years. She just got promoted to what they rebranded as the GGDT unit. And I'm still unsure if I like that or not. It's gangs, guns, and drug trafficking. It used to be organized crime. And I'm like, oh, you're walking around and you think you're a badass now in the GGDT unit. But she likes the violent crime. She's really good at it. But she's also pretty fair with being married to me for so long and seeing firsthand what we do. So, and it's great. Some defense attorneys and prosecutors love the financial crimes. Some love the sex crimes. She really likes the violent crimes, and she loves getting justice for people who really have been, violently hurt. So we got to give a shout out to Kylie.
Okay, nice. All right, so let's go back to my questions. Application process, when are they showing up to your
right? So, Gregg, we opened up the application process in January. We're almost full right now. So as this is probably going to air, we're almost full. We may even be full, but that doesn't mean don't reach out, because for anybody that's reaching out now, we want to give priority for next year. Or as of right now, I think we have 2 spots left right now. What we want is a custom cover letter. Tell me about your passion. I don't care what you're taught by an academic advisor in school. I want to see, do you have a real passion for criminal defense? I mean, look, this is an unpaid internship. If you just want experience, there's other places. If you obviously want to get paid, there's other places. So passion is number 1. Passion for criminal defense. Talk about that in a custom cover letter. We need resume. We need a transcript just to make sure you're a real person and you really are in school. And then we do want a writing sample just to see your writing quality. So those are the 4 things that we want. You can email those. I believe it's to hello@rossenlawfirm.com. But the URL is www.criminalinternships.com. So it's criminalinternships.com. We have a whole page. We actually have a 4-minute promotional video that goes into what the internship is we just made a few months ago. And I think it's pretty good. Tell people about the program, the application, So the summer it starts May 12th and it ends August 1st. So it's 12 weeks. It's the summer. It's 8:30 to 5:30. We give people 1 week off. Obviously, look, it's your summer. We want you to have a little bit of fun. We want you to be a student. But at the same time, we deliberately make this a structured program. And the reason we do is we learned in the past 3-4 years ago, well, I could be there for 3 weeks and then I'm going to Europe for 2 and then I can come back for 2 and then I have a family vacation for 4th of July. And just for the structural integrity of the program, we decided a few years ago that doesn't work. It's core value number 4, all in or not. And it's okay. This year alone already, as of the filming of this, I think we've had close to 300 applicants and we're taking 12. So you can imagine, it's a very selective program, but that's okay, because if you're listening to this and it's not right for you, again, I want you to do something that's right for you. This is So immersive. Yes, you will be going to court almost every day. So you better have a lot of suits. Okay. And, I'm sure there's suit sales going on all the time. It's in person in our headquarters in Fort Lauderdale. So you have to have reliable transportation. The good news is a lot of our interns buddy up and they become a real close knit group. You can always drive with our attorneys. I mean, there's a lot of things that we do for that. But yes, it is in person every day, 8:30 to 5:30. Again, it's immersive, but it's a grind. We want people to really see what it's like to carry the briefcase and know that, hey, there's a difference between I woke up not feeling so great versus I am flat out sick. And when you're a criminal defense lawyer and you're in court every day, or when you own your own law firm, if you wake up and you're not feeling well, you got to suck it up and deal with it at least as much as you can, and then figure out the rest, especially if you have a human being, a client who's counting on you to be there in court this morning. But if you're really sick, well, obviously stay at home. Obviously, if in real life you get one of your buddies to cover court, or, you have your assistant call the judicial assistant and you just, you figure it out. Right. And so we want lawyers to know that criminal law is hard. And because the worst thing you can do is think that this is sunshine and rainbows and then go down this path and be miserable and hate it. So I'd rather you be miserable and hate it now than than be a public defender or a prosecutor and go, what did I do? What did I commit to? This is terrible. Or wake up when you're 35 or 40 years old with a family and go, oh, I just wasted 15 years of my career. So that's also why, now, of course, we want you to love it. We want you to absolutely love it. But we talk about these things during the interview process and we're open and honest about it. One thing I've learned which is funny, I've been a lawyer now 19 years, 2 as a prosecutor, 17 in the Rossen Law Firm. And I've just learned that you want to attract and repel, just like in marketing, and life is too short to do anything other than live an honest, authentic life. And I think we do a pretty good job of that here. And I want all of our interns to do that.
So one of the compelling parts of your approach and your law firm's approach is, okay, we got you out, you're free to go. That's the end of your case. And a lot of law firms and criminal defense attorneys, that's it. I got paid. See you later. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. You basically try to continue the relationship and, I guess, assist them with the course of their life, trying to keep them from becoming a repeat client, so to speak.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we do so much work with our clients. It's all relationship building. That's what we do.
So one of the benefits of your program, your internship program, is that you're going to allow your interns to be involved with the clients, to speak with the clients, and to get, I guess, to sort of get a flavor of your approach, which I like a lot.
Absolutely. We do have them sign NDAs. We do talk a lot about client confidentiality, and not every client is going to be comfortable with, meeting with us and having an intern in the room. So of course we're a little choosy with that, but luckily there's a lot of people that want to hire us. We have a lot of clients, so we can give our interns an amazing experience. And a lot of what comes from me is I talk and I tell them, I say, listen, if your family is the type of family that has those dinner time conversations, I highly encourage you to have those dinner time conversations with your family about what you see here, about criminal justice, about, hey, the police and the prosecutors might not always be the good guys and the good girls, right? And let's see what we do. But you can't use names. And you very well might see somebody who we might represent one of your parents' friends. We might represent one of your good friends or your good friend's parents. And that client confidentiality is of the utmost importance. So we hammer that home in our interview process. We have them sign NDAs and confidentiality statements, and we continue to reinforce it over the summer.
And client relations, confidentiality is also another thing that they just don't even mention in law school or when you're taking a bar. It's kind of, I don't know, I guess I'm up in the air about that. But so, all right, now you've also mentioned that you're going to start a paid internship, which would be during the actual school year.
Right. We want to have maybe a fall component and a spring component to it and not have it conflict with the summer program.
So let's just say you're a student and you applied for the summer, you didn't get in, or maybe you've already got a job and you're like, wow, this sounds great, but I've already committed and you're interested in this next phase. When is the time to approach you for that?
Right. So you bring up a good point. We're just starting this. So as we sit right here, I want it to be for non-traditional students. So maybe people it could be in like a technical school or non-students as well, because I really want this to be more from people who this summer we already have committed Duke Law School, Miami Law School, Washington University Law School. We've had people from all the Ivies apply. And so while our summer internship program is highly academic focused and highly competitive, I want the mentorship to be more for non-traditional people. So we're probably not going to take students through that traditional route. Okay. Again, we haven't started it yet, but that's really the thought process behind that. Somebody who really more of using this more as a vocational training mentorship program rather than an academic and practical internship. We're going to start really fleshing out the full plan for that in August and September when the summer internship ends. So I would say early bird gets the worm. If you're listening to this and you're very interested, worst thing you can do is wait. So get on my radar, now get on my radar August and September, but certainly don't wait to November, December, because what we're planning on doing now is planning it August and September and really having it start in January. And I think right now the goal is just to do one at a time, because this is more of the vocational training type, hands-on, you're an employee of the firm, and we're calling it a mentorship program where it's basically a limited engagement for a few months and, for all those things that could possibly turn into full-time employment.
All right. So if you want to try to grab those last two spots, or maybe line up for next year, or maybe do this fall spring program that you're talking about for not the traditional law student, hello at Rossen Law Firm.
I believe it's hello at rossenlawfirm.com, but definitely go on criminalinternships.com, and that takes you to the URL directly on our page where you could have all the information on there. How to apply, all the different things are on there. So criminalinternships.com.
All right. Have I missed anything you wanted to talk about except for your legal battles with your wife?
She always wins, and I would love to do a podcast with her. We try not to talk too much about that, and it involves her with winning all the time. But happy wife, happy life.
All right. Well, if you do have a trial with your wife, I really would maybe we'll do a live stream podcast.
That would be great. We're not allowed. She'd conflict off the case, but I would love to. It'd be really fun, and we're both very competitive, so it would probably get a little nasty.
Yeah. Maybe we do like a mock trial or whatever down the road,
Right.
Volume 6.
Yeah. It would end with me sleeping in the guest room for about a week.
Yeah.
But you know what? If I won, it'd be worth sleeping in the guest room for a week just to beat her.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'd be the judge or the defendant for that case.
Right.
You'll let me know. All right. So, Adam, I think that covers what you wanted to talk about for the most part. Anything else?
Yeah, Greg. Just thank you for giving me this platform. Thank you for everything that you do. Anybody listening to this, if there's anything I can do to help you, reach out. The best way is on LinkedIn. I'm getting a lot more active on LinkedIn. And if there's anybody listening to this that knows a criminal justice organization, has a friend, a contact, please put us in touch. Because again, the more criminal justice orgs that we can partner with, it's really about partnering with these organizations. So please, let us know anything, you could do to help, anything I can do to help anybody listening to this. The legal field, I think, especially in the part of the legal field that I'm a part of at various marketing and business groups, masterminds, people like you, Greg, that are doing podcasts, we're also very giving. It's not being at the bar functions with all the curmudgeons. So I've had so many people help me. I want to help so many people, and just anybody listening to this, anything I can do, please let me know. I will do it.
All right. So that'll do it for this episode of Cut to the Chase with Adam Rossen from the Rossen Law Firm, doing amazing work with all the things that he's doing, his approach and the internship and all that. It's a lot of time and effort, and it's not like he's generating money from this kind of stuff. But I appreciate this, Adam. I appreciate you coming on through my program to talk about your program. And anybody out there that has any questions of me about this and how to get in touch with Adam, please, drop a comment down there, and then I'll hook you up with Adam. All right. So Adam, go get him, man. He's still got another 2 hours today.
Thanks.
All right.
Oh, I know.
All right. And say hello to Kylie for me. All right.
Oh, I will.
All right. That'll do it. And everybody have a good day and stay safe.
That's all for this episode of Cut to the Chase. But before you go, will you open up your podcast app and give us a 5-star review? You can also leave a comment about what you liked most or other topics you'd like us to cover. And please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming shows. Thanks, everybody. Be safe out there.